Hello, friends. In this world where we have no way of really knowing if there will be more fires, hurricanes, unbreathable air, floods, death, destruction, virus, we have no idea what direction the wind will blow next. But we gather together to be reminded that the Spirit of love walks with us every step of the way. Welcome to those of you who are seeking solace, and welcome to you who feel strong and ready and fit for the test of a lifetime. Welcome to you who get up, follow a routine, and accomplish your list of goals. And welcome to you who feel exhausted, trying to function in the midst of all of the uncertainties and fear. Welcome to our heroes that serve in a myriad of ways that keep us safe, healthy, eating, learning, listening, laughing, and finding creative ways to move forward. Welcome to all experiencing the paralysis of fear and anxiety. Welcome to you no matter your shape or size, whether you lean left or right. Welcome to all sexual orientations and gender identities. Welcome to all who have no idea what is right side up or upside down, because we are all feeling it. No matter how good or how bad you are feeling and functioning, you are all welcome here. Welcome to worship, friends. This morning in the light, we lift up both Christina Wright and Emily Riley, as their mom Mary had a stroke this week. Fortunately, she has a good prognosis and is resting with their sister Andrea at her home. We also lift up Laura Altizer, who is scheduled for foot surgery next week on September 23rd. She would appreciate our prayers. She's actually more concerned about the week-long self-isolation after the surgery and would appreciate our prayers for that. We lift up Betsy Blake, who lost her very beloved grandmother, Eleanor Keyes, this past week. We lift up her family and all those who loved Eleanor as they mourn, and we ask for their comfort. This week we celebrated the life of Bill Stevens. We continue to hold his beloved family and friends and all of us in the light who mourn this great loss. Bill was pastor here over 25 years ago, and he continued to be a friend, a mentor, a confidant, and an inspiration through the years. We are thankful for the ways that he loved us and challenged us to be good stewards of the environment, love each other, and reach out beyond the walls of this building to love our community. As we move deeper into worship, I offer these words of comfort from Psalms. There is no spot on earth or circumstance that I, your God, am not there with you, and your family and your friends. My hope is that in your darkest moments, you will see the light of my love and grace. My light, my love, and my grace will pierce the darkness. When it appears evil is going to win, my loving kindness will protect and sustain you even in death. I am with you in the darkest moments of your life. There is no place I am not with you. And even as you approach death, I will walk with you on your pathway to heaven. As you trust in me, do not be afraid, for my promise from the beginning of time has been, I will always be with you. I will always be before and beyond the grave. Fear not, I am with you. Amen.
Good morning. Our reading this morning comes from Kate Davies, an essay that she wrote entitled A Quaker Perspective on Hope, published in Friends Journal in September 2018. In addition to defining hope in terms of desire, expectation, and fulfillment, most dictionaries provide a secondary archaic definition based on faith. This older and much less common meaning is about trusting life without the expectation of attaining particular outcomes anytime soon. This type of hope has a quiet but unshakable faith in whatever happens and in the human capacity to respond to it constructively. It is a positive, but not necessarily optimistic, attitude towards life because it depends on our internal condition, not on external conditions or circumstances. I call this intrinsic hope because it comes from deep inside us. To me, intrinsic hope is also that of God in everyone, the inner light, the quiet, still voice, and the experience of the great mystery. Intrinsic hope says yes to whatever happens, whether we like it or not. Because if we lose hope and give up, then all the gloomy predictions about the future will become a reality. But if we can live from intrinsic hope, we will be able to stay positive and engaged even in the darkest of times. And in doing so, we can influence whether there will be a viable future for our children, their children, and all the future generations on earth.
Good morning, friends. One of the most frequently quoted writings of George Fox has to do with hope. He says, "I saw also that there was an ocean of darkness and death, but an infinite ocean of light and love, which flowed over the ocean of darkness. In that also I saw the infinite love of God, and I had great openings." Welcome to September 20 in the year 2020, and quite frankly, I think George Fox today would have mostly seen the ocean of darkness and death. The insidious virus responsible for the pandemic and a staggering number of worldwide deaths and deaths in this country shows no signs of letting up. Many people have the added stress of raging wildfires or destructive hurricanes where they live. And even if you're not directly in those paths, you may have family or friends who are. And that's not to mention social injustice, racial tension, and the problems of everyday life, like worrying about sending your children to school. Our normal lives have changed dramatically. We're wearing masks, keeping social distance, washing our hands constantly, unable to see friends, wary of going to restaurants and gyms. Many people have lost their jobs. Others are working from home, engaged in seemingly endless rounds of Zoom meetings. Sports, normally our great escape, are televised but being played most often in arenas empty of spectators. For many folks at First Friends, at or near the top of their list of things that they miss is the interaction with each other at services, committee meetings, carry-in dinners, and functions of all different kinds, usually held at the meeting house. Gone for the time being is the laughter, catching up on each other's news, hugging, shaking hands, touches on the shoulder. We are a gregarious congregation, and life isn't the same without that social contact with people we know and love. As someone used to hosting on Sunday mornings, I miss greeting folks as they enter the foyer, welcoming them to the service, seeing their smiles, exchanging genuine pleasantries. We will eventually return to all that and to the other things that used to be normal in our lives. But no one can predict with any accuracy right now just when that will occur. In the meantime, we tend to get caught up in the negative things that are happening in our neighborhoods, our state, our country, and our world. Coping with everything is almost a full-time job in itself. I'm tired, I'm hanging in there, and on many days I'm tired of hanging in there. It says in Romans 12, chapter 12, Rejoice in hope. Be patient in tribulation. Be constant in prayer. I know that's meant to be reassuring, but after 7 months without seeing much in the way of results, often the easiest thing to do is to adopt a bunker mentality. So where can we find a glimpse of George Fox's infinite ocean of light and love? There's no magic wand to wave, no panacea to soothe us. The answers are as varied as the individuals ourselves. Some turn to prayer, others to passages in the Bible, and those certainly are sources of comfort and inspiration. But what about those times in between, when we're going about the business of our daily lives? That's when you can slip into a downward spiral, often without realizing it. What I offer this morning is something small, something personal, that has given me a measure of peace. My first inclination was to call it slivers of hope. Then I wondered, what can you make out of slivers? Perhaps a mosaic if you're an extremely talented artist, but that doesn't work for most of us. So I settled on threads of hope. With threads, you've got something to work with, something to weave or sew or simply tie together until you begin to see a broader pattern of hope. You don't necessarily need a preconceived idea of a finished product. You just have to gather the threads and, after a while, begin to see what you've got. What am I talking about then? For me, it's noticing the everyday little things that we take for granted, not the big events that affect everyone, not something our favorite sports team or athlete or entertainer has done, not anything in the realm of politics. These little things usually happen when you may be the only one to notice, like the smile and wave of a small child as you drive slowly by. Young children don't realize what a pandemic is. And neither do the things in nature. A mother deer with 2 spotted fawns, hummingbirds as busy and feisty as ever around a feeder, a groundhog waddling by the side of a road, wild turkey suddenly appearing out of the woods, a batch of wildflowers growing in an otherwise stark place. Threads of hope are little things that make you smile, giving you pause to remember that, yes, there is hope out there. You can seek them out, or they can be unexpected. The surprises may be the best of all. They can be something you might see on a walk or on a drive to the grocery store. Not long ago, when I was sitting in a restaurant with Anne, we were socially distanced from the other patrons, of course. The background music consisted of, and I'm dating myself here, but I'll do it anyway, about 30 minutes of the great sounds of Motown. Smokey Robinson, the Four Tops, the Temptations, Wilson Pickett, the Supremes. And the segment ended with a song I hadn't heard in a long time, the OJ's belting out Love Train. You may recall the chorus, which I will repeat, but not singing. People all over the world join hands, start a love train, love train. Don't you know that it's time to get on board and let this train keep riding on through? It was a sentiment that I sorely needed to hear. Even if I know that it's not literally going to happen, the image of people around the world joining hands and boarding a love train is something that I like to visualize. So music may provide you with a surprise thread. I can tell you that even when you seek out threads of hope, you may have a hard time finding them. Sometimes I'll go for days without noticing one. That tells me I'm in one of those downward spirals, sometimes known as a sinking spell. What I have to do is pay more attention, be more open to what's out there on an everyday basis. On occasion, I will be in a store or business where everyone is doing the right thing by wearing a mask. Of course, that means you can't see most of their face or see them smile. What I do is start noticing people's eyes, the windows to the soul. That saying, by the way, is generally attributed to Shakespeare, although variations appear in literature, including the Bible, much before his time. Regardless, when people smile, it will show around their eyes. You can gather a lot of threads that way. Be open to finding threads of hope anywhere, and remember that they're personal to you. Your threads and what you make from them are different from those of other people, and they should be. I found this one in a newspaper from syndicated columnist Sharon Randall, who writes, "In the wilderness of this pandemic, when the dark road seems never to end, I look into the eyes of my loved ones and see the light of a sunny day. I hope you can see it too." And I found this, which is framed and hanging on the wall of the Cafe Portofino restaurant in Boone. They are words to live by from Mother Teresa. People are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness, people may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give your best anyway. I encourage you to keep a small notebook with you and record your threads of hope in as much or as little detail as suits you. Eventually, I would like for us to begin sharing them, perhaps in weekly updates, Sunday bulletins, and monthly newsletters, possibly in the form of a booklet similar to one we did years ago that you may remember, called Summer's Essence. But whether you write down your threads of hope or not, just begin looking for them. Remember to seek them out in everyday little things and keep yourself open to surprises. Something will pop up and make you smile, at least for a moment. That's a good start, and perhaps it will be easier to pass that smile along to someone else. Now, of course, this can't be a bona fide Quaker message without queries, so I offer you these two to consider. 1, how can I become more aware of my everyday surroundings and be open to seeing threads of hope? 2, how can I look beyond what George Fox called the ocean of darkness and death and begin to see his vision of an infinite ocean of light and love? Thank you, friends, for letting me spend some time with you this morning. May you be successful in your quest to discover your threads of hope.